You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Ian, look at this.
Well, it's a police box. What on earth's it doing here? I mean, these things are usually on the street. I feel it. Do you feel it?
Faint vibration.
It's alive.
Earth Station Who, a fun mashup celebrating nearly 50 years of Doctor Who universe. Hold tight. You never know where the TARDIS is going next.
You're probably a bit confused right now. I broke the glass. It's all come back to me.
What is this?
That's my ship.
What?
Let me take it from the top. Hello, I'm the Doctor. I'm a traveller in space and time. And that thing buried down there is called a TARDIS. Time and relative dimension in space. You're gonna love this.
Hey there, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Earth Station Who. That's right, folks. We are back, and Happy New Year! We are here for the first episode of 2022. And you know what? We are going to be talking all about Eve of the Daleks, the New Year's special, the first of 3 specials coming to you this year in 2022, and which is slowly and sadly going to be leading up to Jodie's ultimate demise as the Doctor. And it's going to be very interesting to see, and we're going to spoil the hell out of this episode. So if you haven't seen this episode or seen Groundhog Day, be prepared to be spoiled, folks. So definitely check it out. We definitely would love to hear from you guys. Please write us feedback at earthstationwho.com. And, let us know what you guys thought of this episode. Did you like seeing the Daleks back again? And did you enjoy the thrill of having Jodie run through a storage unit the whole time? It was pretty awesome to talk all about this, and we're going to talk all about it, so be prepared, folks. We have a couple great guests with us tonight. Of course, returning back to the show, Mr. Dave Chapman is here. Welcome, sir.
Hello, hello.
How are you?
How are you? I'm doing great. Happy New Year.
We're just talking all over each other, my friend. Yeah,
Yes, we are.
Exactly.
It's a new year, so let's start off with a blunder.
Well, this is Earth Station Who. I think that should be Earth Blunder Who. No, I think so. The way the show often goes sometimes. But it's definitely great to have you back, my friend.
It is great to be back. I miss you guys. You guys are great.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And it's funny because we wanted people on the show tonight who hadn't been on the show during Flux. And so, glad you weren't with us for that. So it was perfect.
The frustrating thing with Flux is I couldn't watch it quickly. I don't have regular cable.
Right.
And the timing of just the episodes meant that I'm like, okay, great. I can binge like 2 or 3 at a time, which is fine because there's only 6 episodes.
Right.
Yeah. Made it hard to appear on shows. Maybe
at the beginning of the segment when we actually do the review, we'll get from both you and our next guest what that you guys thought of Flux, because I'm actually curious to see and everything. And, of course, joining us for the first time this week is Christina. Louise, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Oh, it is awesome to have you here. And you actually run a Doctor Who group up on Facebook. And you also are a huge Whovian, because I know you've been to Gallifrey a couple times and such, and Dragon Con.
Yes, that's right. Yes. Gallifrey and Dragon Con are my 2 conventions that I always go to if they happen. But yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, I used to run a cosplay group for Doctor Who as well, and then that was when I lived in Houston, and then kind of went into the meetup group, which now is the Doctor Who and Science Fiction Appreciation Society. So
that is awesome. And so the big question always for you, for new people on the show, who is your doctor?
Oh, gee. Originally I would have said Tennant, but now it's Jodie. It truly is.
Really? That's awesome. I love hearing that. She deserves the love, and it's pretty awesome. And so I'm very, very happy to hear that. Or, what I always say is whoever's playing the Doctor now is my doctor. And, so it's always,
right.
I have favorites, but, and some not so favorites. But, but it's always great that, giving the current Doctor love, it's always a great thing to do.
Yeah.
So, awesome. Well, welcome aboard.
Thank you so much.
And we have our regulars, of course, here tonight. Let's say hi to the lovely and talented Mary Ogle. Happy New Year, Mary.
Hi, everybody. Happy New Year.
It is so great to see you. And you know what? We have a fresh start. 2022 did it start off with a bang for you?
It started off nice and calm and serene, which is exactly what I needed. So I'm perfectly happy with that.
It's almost too quiet. So that is awesome. It's great to see you here.
It's great to be here.
And of course, Mr. Howdy himself, Mike Gordon.
Howdy.
Happy New Year, my friend.
Happy New Year to everybody.
It is awesome to see you. How's 2022 been treating you so far?
Well, ours really did start with a bang because the neighbors were putting off fireworks till about 5 a.m. So, so it started off with a lot of bangs. But we got, New Year, new Who, like for an episode right away. So, I missed the Christmas episodes, but there's something kind of cool about having one on New Year's Day as well.
Definitely. It's very interesting. And now that RTD is going to be coming back, do you think we're going to start seeing the Christmas specials back again?
I think so.
I hope so.
I hope so.
There was always something special about it.
I think I'll move it back to Christmas. Yeah, I think so.
Because, I really don't like watching Doctor Who with a hangover. So it's,
Well, it all depends on the episode. I was going to say, some of them might be better.
Well,
No, it's never better with a hangover. Sometimes it's better before the hangover.
Oh, okay. Good point.
On the way to the hangover.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
What starts in the alcohol bottle should end up in your stomach, so it's okay. It's good. And
Yes.
goes through the head. It's good. It's a good thing. So, not a ton of Doctor Who news. There's a lot of rumors going around right now. But, as we like to say on the show, we don't talk much about rumors because 90% of the time we end up with egg on our face. So it's easier that way if we don't. But I did, there's a couple things that have come out that's kind of official. RTD has already said that they are planning on his first episode to be the 60th anniversary special in November 2023. So after the 3 specials, which we've already seen the first one of these, it's going to be 2 more specials and then no more Doctor Who. There's not going to be a holiday special next year, and you're not going to see anything till October of 2023.
Yeah, it's going to be a long year.
Exactly. We guess we really got to kick up those big Finnish audios that we got to review for the podcast.
Yes.
Well, plenty of time.
Oh, very much so. And it's going to be a lot of time between, but I really hope that's going to be worth it, and looking forward to it. RTD is saying the way he says it, they've started auditioning for the 14th Doctor, but I think they're a little further than that, but take it as it comes. We were joking around before we went on the air and saying, wouldn't it be kind of cool if they made the announcement, Michael Sheehan's going to be the 14th Doctor, even though Michael Sheehan's already said, oh, I'm not going to be the Doctor or anything. But they make the announcement that he's going to be the Doctor. They make the whole thing. They have the first episode with him on it, have the opening and everything with him, his face and everything. And he's flying around in the TARDIS, gets a companion at the, 3/4 of the way, or at the end of the episode, he gets shot and regenerates at the end of it.
Or even if it happens in like the first 5 minutes.
kind of what happened to Sylvester.
Yeah, well, kind of, yes.
Yeah.
right, exactly.
Sylvester's back. Boom, boom. Oh.
Hey, that alley is still there and still looks just the same minus the giant wall they built. Just do it right there again.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It would be...
Come on up to Vancouver.
You never know. It could be fun to do. It would be interesting to see, or they do the Curse of Fatal Death thing and have like 6 different people as the Doctor.
Yes.
And have all these celebrities as the Doctor. And then they finally go, boom, boom, Joanna Lindley is the Doctor. And they fade to black or something. It would be awesome if they did something like that, just to screw with the fans.
Look, we've lived through 3 seasons of Chibnall. The fans have been screwed enough.
Mike can't take anymore.
let's not start off on the wrong foot here.
At that point, you're trolling the trolls. It's not even the fans that they're screwing around with. It'll be the trolls that they screw around with if they do that.
Yeah, good point. Touche there. But,
well, we just don't live in that. We don't live in that time. I'm amazed that they've been able to keep as much secrets as they have in the last 3 or 4 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And surprise us with when Moffat did it with the 8th Doctor, and Chibnall's actually done it a few times. Introducing a whole new Doctor,
the fugitive Doctor.
Exactly. And so we've gotten big surprises from this franchise. But, as we all know, throughout this, 50-plus year history, almost 60 now, the BBC doesn't work that way.
No.
They want to make sure that everybody knows who the next Doctor is a long time in advance.
Yeah, I agree with that. But it's interesting, too, because I did like how they introduced Jodie as the Doctor, where they had, they did the video making the announcement. And because nobody knew before that. There were rumors and saying they had narrowed it down to a few different people. But they didn't say who. And then Chibnall did the video of her walking through the woods wearing the hoodie. And, I thought it was totally awesome. I would love to see something like that.
Yeah, that was cool. With Peter's introduction, big live event, worldwide live event, that was, I don't think they would recreate that. That was a bit too frank.
Not right now.
Well, no.
Yeah.
I hope not right now.
Well, I didn't say it would be live in front of an audience, but like that one was. But it still was. I mean, it's always cool, and it's cool when you get to see something and everybody sees the same thing, and so everybody gets the news at the same time, other than you wake up and it's on Facebook and you don't know whether to believe it or not, or somebody's posting this or that, and everybody finds out about it through their own way. I like it when they make an announcement and you have to be there, and everybody who cares is there, and everybody finds out at the same time.
Exactly. I think that would be
get Jodie to host SNL. Jodie comes out, hosts SNL, and regenerates on American television. It's a way to troll everybody.
Dude, if she was on Saturday Night Live, that would be more people than watch the episodes of Doctor Who. So, right there.
It's true.
But it's interesting. They in an article this last week, actually, Jodie came out and said she's totally open to returning as the Doctor, in specials and such. So I guess she's not that soured yet. So it's good because
yet.
Yeah. Well, Capaldi's where he said, "Oh, I'd never liked multiple Doctor stories. I don't think I would want to be involved with them." So.
He's turned out to be kind of I don't know. I thought he was one of the biggest fans, and now that he's been not the Doctor, he's kind of turned around and been kind of jerkish.
Well, he has Suicide Squad money on him now, so it's quite okay. And
that wasn't that much.
Well, they got to glue spark plugs to his head, so it was interesting. But yeah, so I'm very happy to see that she wants to come back. So I'm very, very happy about that. I don't think we've talked about that Big Finish actually has signed a new contract, and they are going to be doing Doctor Who audios at least through 2030, which is amazing to think about.
Yes,
Indeed.
And if you ever need your Doctor Who fix, folks, please check out Big Finish audios. They are amazing. And not just the ones we've talked about on the show. There are hundreds and hundreds
so many
of them out there now. And
if you don't like one, you're going to find one that you like.
Exactly. And now that Tennant is up there, you should get your fix that way. Chris is up there, and all the old series Doctors are up there. And if you want to learn,
great Eighth Doctor ones.
Oh, I was about to say, if you want to learn more about the Eighth Doctor other than the movie, please check out Big Finish. There are some awesome stuff, but there's also companion stories too, which is really awesome. And there's unit stories, and there's Django and Lightfoot, and the Paternoster Gang, which we've talked about. It's some amazing stuff. And I actually downloaded the first storyline that they did, because they got the rights to Space 1999. And I downloaded that. And it's a whole new cast. It's not the cast from the TV show. And
most of those are dead.
Yeah, I was going to say there aren't very many of them left.
but when I first saw it, it's like, oh, it's just the audio from the TV show. But no, it isn't. It is awesome what they've done. And there's like Blake 7, and there's all these different other shows that you could see and that you'd love, and you're going to find a favorite up there, and they're not that expensive. And it's a great way,
They're always having sale.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say, instead of listening to a podcast, but I said, on top of listening to a podcast,
And you can legally find a lot of them on Spotify as well.
Yes. So
almost everything, really.
And I know they have samples on their YouTube channel as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you can take, you can dip your toe in before you dive right in. But warning, once you dive in, be careful, because you could drown. There's that much stuff.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I drove across the continent and didn't even scratch the surface with the Eighth Doctor. The Eighth Doctor. And literally across the continent, nothing.
And he was going backwards, folks. It was amazing. So it was, so it even went even slower for him. So, and he didn't even scratch the surface. It's awesome. But yes, definitely check out Big Finish, and congratulations for them. Nick Briggs and his crew are doing awesome work. So definitely check it out. I think we might have to add to our schedule, folks, Christopher Eccleston stuff, because we did the first one for the fine folks at the Brit Tracks. So I think it would be awesome for us to do some of the second or the third story.
Do you know if this new contract includes any new, I think they're only able to, before this new contract, I think they were only able to use certain characters up to a certain point. Do you know if that's been expanded?
Not yet. Still the same. But they're eventually going to, they're going to get Matt Smith. They're eventually going to get Jodie. They're going to, as long as they get Graham, I'm going to be happy. So,
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm asking. Okay, you saw right through me. That's exactly what I want to know. I'm like, when are we going to get the Graham adventures?
No, that would be great.
BBC's not going to leave that money on the table.
As
little as it is.
Graham and Ryan, adventures right away with their psychic paper. We're so looking forward to
Graham and Ryan adventures.
Hey, I'm trying to keep everyone's spirits up because we still have to talk about that Dalek story. So it'll be a lot of fun to do, and definitely check out Big Finish, folks. So I think that's most of the big news I had to talk about tonight. And let's take a quick break, and we will be back, and we are going to be talking all about Eve of the Daleks.
Check out what's been going on with the Pop Culture Cosmos Show and the PCC Multiverse.
I would say that E3 maybe isn't the event that it once was, but everybody still plans their event around the E3 schedule.
Steven Spielberg could throw out a gum commercial, and we'd all watch it because it's Steven Spielberg.
Dragon Age 4 is carrying, I think, the future of BioWare on its shoulders.
That's the Pop Culture Cosmos Show.
And the PCC Multiverse.
Catch our shows on Worldwide Radio 7 days a week and right here on the ESO Network.
Happy nearly New Year.
Hiya, Nick.
Here we are again.
Here we are again.
Anyone else got a proper deja vu?
We're stuck in a time loop with killer robots.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Does it?
It will kill everything not within its own image.
Shoot.
Should old acquaintance be forgot?
And now it's time for Eve of the Daleks, which was premiered on January 1st, 2022. Featured, of course, Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor, Manap Gill as Yasmin Khan, and John Bishop as Dan Lewis. And it was interesting because, you know, this is the follow-up to Flux. And like I said when we first started the show, Dave and Christina, what were your thoughts on Flux? Let ladies go first.
I enjoyed it for the most part. I mean, there were things that were, you know, there was a lot going on, and there was a lot of different things that didn't quite add up. But overall, I really enjoyed it just because it made me excited again. I was really excited to watch Doctor Who again for the first time in a long time, to be honest, you know. So I would definitely give it probably at least a 4.
Oh, that's awesome.
4 out of 5.
Really good. That's good. That's good because we do 1 out of 5 TARDISes, so you hit it right in the mark. It's perfect. And you would have probably had one of the highest scores on our show when we did the review, so that's even better. So that's awesome. All right, Dave, what about you?
I can't help but wonder if this was not supposed to be a 9-episode story arc and there wasn't supposed to be specials, because it really felt like they just crammed another 3 episodes worth of material into some of those episodes.
Well, we had mentioned it that it was supposed to originally be 8 episodes, but COVID cut it down to 6. So I agree that some of it was crunched in. But it was neat to see a lot of old familiar faces again in this. And,
definitely.
Well, if you count Daleks and Sontarans as faces, you know. So
I mean, Sontarans have a face, looks like a potato, but you know.
Exactly. It's a glorified Mr. Potato Head. It's good.
Exactly. No, I think there was definitely some upsides to it. Like a lot of it was definitely weirdly cut together, but there were, you know, the Village of the Angels was a brilliant episode, being the only one that wasn't entirely written by Chibnall. You know, I loved what they did with, you know, the 4 years of travel of the companions, which gets brought up in Eve of the Daleks, so we'll probably get there eventually. You know, I think there was definitely some really good moments in there, and I think just the way everything kind of fell together failed, unfortunately.
Okay. No, okay. I do understand that. How many TARDISes would you have given it 1 out of 5?
3, maybe 3.5.
Okay. Fair enough. And, you know, for the rest of us, you can listen to last 2 episodes when we did talk about Flux and the review, and we gave the whole season a review. So let's get into Eve of the Daleks. It was very interesting to get this one. You know, Chibnall had promised, you know, everything that was happening in Flux, more answers will come your way in the specials. I guess we still have to wait because not much was actually answered in this at all. And it was all set in a storage unit, basically, or a storage facility, if you want to properly, but those were some of the biggest storage units I have ever seen in my life. I've lived, putting furniture and stuff in a little 5x5 storage unit. This was almost looked like my first apartment in college. It was so big, so
Yeah.
it was just amazing to see, I want to find this place, even though it's been blown up, but it would have been great.
I was thinking the same thing, especially when they were showing all the cans, and it just seemed to go on forever. And I was like, every storage unit I've ever seen is like a little box.
Exactly.
Even the larger ones.
No, usually when you rent a storage unit, you have to get very creative in stacking or piling and, trying to figure out how to get things. And of course, the stuff you need is always in the back of the piles and everything whenever you have to go back to the storage unit. So it was interesting. And you got to introduce to Sarah and Nick. And, basically, I thought they were great. I liked those characters. I think her name is Aisling B.
Aisling.
Aisling, who played Sarah, has some of the best facial expressions I have ever seen in my life. And it was cool. Nick, he was okay. And then basically what ended up happening was that it landed in a time loop. And supposedly caused by the TARDIS, which was still going through whatever was happening to it during Flux. And the Doctor decided to land it originally on this beach planet. And again, the TARDIS doesn't land where it's supposed to, but where it's needed, as I like to say. And the story then goes from there. The Doctor then sets a reset on the TARDIS that it's going to reset itself. And I was so hoping for a new TARDIS set. With
only 3 episodes, I'm like, there's been 3 specials. I'm like, they're not going to introduce a new set now.
Though I thought that must, when they first did it, I was like, oh, we must be getting a new set, because otherwise, what is the point of this?
Exactly.
And once again, there is no point.
No, there was no ramification of it. They didn't even say what was wrong with it. It was just the TARDIS needed to be reset. It was just another plot hole.
Convenient way to get them out of the TARDIS and not be able to go back into it.
It was a neat effect seeing the TARDIS all cracked and everything and glowy, but we saw that on the poster, so it wasn't any surprise that it was like that. And so the time loop was caused by the TARDIS going through its reset then, supposedly. That's at least what the Daleks said. And we basically had the Daleks, who we thought were just all destroyed with the Flux, because in the last episode, and basically we were said, oh, that was their battle fleet. It wasn't all the Daleks.
Yeah, there's always more Daleks out there somewhere.
Exactly. So what were your guys' initial thoughts on this? Were you guys looking forward to it? Were you curious to see where they were going to go with it? What about you, Mikey?
I love this episode. I'm like, where has this guy been throughout his run? It's a nice story. It doesn't it's simple. The fate of the planet, the fate of the world, the fate of the universe is not at stake. It's just this incident with the Doctor, her companions, and 2 other people. Despite the fact that it's in just one location in a storage unit, it's just, it doesn't feel, actually it adds to the feeling of it being confined. The Daleks are just there, but they're badass. Every time someone got killed by a Dalek, I felt that pain. I can't imagine that's fun to go through multiple times. That just looks like it hurts really bad. I like the 2 characters in the storage unit. I like Nick, and I thought that was kind of cool. It was just a nice little simple story. He wasn't trying to do too much like we've seen him do, like with Flux. This is just a nice little simple incident. Time loop stories are fun. I've seen time loop stories my whole life, contrary to popular opinion, there were time loop stories before Groundhog Day. And there are plenty after. This was kind of a cool take on it. The fact that it kept getting shorter and shorter. I kind of like that immediacy, it sort of added to the tension a little bit. Overall, I thought Yaz and Dan were cool. Of course, there's our suspicions were correct about Yaz and the Doctor. So
I was going to talk about that.
That's something that we're going to need to talk about. But aside from that, I just really enjoyed it. I had fun with it. I watched it a couple times. I thought it was great. This is a fun episode. I can't say it was fun. A lot of Chibnall stories aren't fun. Like this one was. It just was fun and kind of a cool story.
Okay. Awesome. Dave.
I kind of agree with a lot of that. I found it, I had a hard time actually staying attention, having my attention stuck there for some reason. And I still cannot pinpoint what it was. I enjoyed the episode, but something about it just kept letting my attention away. So I had to watch it several times before I go, wait, why is this happening? Did I miss that? I missed that somewhere. It was the TARDIS that did that. How did I miss that the first 3 times I watched it or whatever it was, right?
Yeah, it was just a throwaway comment. It wasn't even like a main focal point.
And there was a lot of those little throwaway comments, just kind of throughout the whole thing. And I did enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. I thought it was a great episode. Like I said, it's a lot of fun. The Daleks were the Daleks, but they felt a little bit, as you said, a little bit more badass than they usually do.
Well, they have grappling guns now, basically, instead of one blast.
Exactly.
I mean, those things were, Can I also just say real quick, too, that this is my bad, because it didn't occur to me until we were watching this, I was watching this, that all of the New Year's Day specials for Jodie have been with the Daleks.
You just realized that?
I just realized it. I was and the only reason I realized it is because BBC America was showing the past ones, and I was like, oh, there's a Dalek. Oh, there's a Dalek. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. And I will say, out of all 3 of the Dalek stories that he did, I like this one the best.
Really?
# New Year, New Dalek.
Okay. All right, Mary, what about you?
I really enjoyed this episode. I really thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was much more self-contained, which I think helped it. For some reason, Chibnall's New Year's episodes seem to be better overall than a lot of his regular season episodes. I don't know why. I don't know if it has something to do with the Daleks.
In the first Dalek story, he actually made the Daleks scary again.
I loved the first Dalek story, and the middle one was okay. And this one I thought was really good. And the side characters, he has trouble developing side characters. We have had that discussion before. But in this one, you cared about them. They were actually fully realized characters who they weren't perfect. They were flawed, but that was good. That's what you wanted. That made them more human. And you felt like you got to know them even in a short amount of time. And it was kind of nice how the romance developed. And we can talk about the other romance later, which I wasn't as thrilled about. But overall, it was, I think it helped that it was basically a base under siege story.
Sure.
And I think that helped
definitely. It's classic Doctor Who at its best right there.
I think that helped it because he just didn't have the opportunity to bring in too many things from the outside.
Soap opera.
Exactly. And I like the idea that each jump was a minute shorter. And
that was a great idea because it really ramped up the tension.
Yep.
Oh, it did, especially because the one gentleman, Nick, died 5 minutes before midnight. So they had to go rescue him before, he died, so he'd be able to go through to the next jump and not die permanently. That was actually really smart. And I like that part. Christina, what about you?
Out of all of the Chibnall specials, I would say that this one was probably the best one and the most complete. I have to agree. The story was actually fully fleshed out. There wasn't a lot of plot holes and different things, I found it really enjoyable. I wanted to go back for just a second. You did say the reset on the TARDIS. I had a note here that I wrote that Jodie actually said that the reason she was resetting it was to clear out the rest of the flux that was in there.
I've watched it 3 times.
At the beginning of the episode.
I missed that part.
See, lots of little throwaway lines.
Yeah.
We believe
that was, you know what? It doesn't over the course of things, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
You don't need to watch the flux in order to understand what's going on here.
Yeah.
And that's what, as Mary said, it's standalone. That's what I loved about it too.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't lead to the next one. This is, I think, the first time he's ever done one that's like just standalone.
Yes. Because even the other Christmas or holiday specials he did, tied in to a point.
Yeah, and as much as I like that first one that he did with the Dalek, it gets too crazy and big at the end. Like, it's just like, the Dalek starts trying to take over the world or whatever, that satellite. And then you've got all the stuff with Ryan and his dad and all. Like, it just, it gets kind of bogged down with that. So as cool as it is to, the first part of that one, where the Dalek gets scary again, I think it kind of, it kind of fails again, like he does so many times. And that doesn't happen here. Like, he actually makes it to the end and scores the goal and I appreciated that.
Okay. That makes sense. Christina, what else you got for us? Any other thoughts on initial thoughts?
Just that there was a few really great moments and great lines that stood out to me. One of them was my friend Lauren actually says that good-hearted weirdos are actually the keepers. I don't know. That really just kind of, I was just happy to hear that,
Oh, of course. Everyone in the geek community probably cheered at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a chance. All right. Which is pretty cool. Now, there was a lot of good in this. There was a lot of bad in it, too. And I didn't love it as much as you guys did. And it was actually, for me, it was starting to get a little tedious with the jumps towards the end.
I'm sorry, you watched it 3 times?
Yes.
Okay,
I didn't.
You didn't like it.
No, I watched it 3 times because I wanted to make sure I didn't miss any of it, because I was on my computer every time because it didn't hold my attention, Mike. So I wanted to definitely, there was just something about it. It was just like, okay, it's nice. It's cute, but it was just like, it wasn't something that I was riveted to, like when I was watching Capaldi Doctor Who, or I was watching the Angels episode of Flux, where I just stared at the TV the whole time. This didn't do it for me. I watched it live when it appeared and had to sit through 2 zillion commercials. Then I watched it on demand the second 2 times, and they have minimal commercials on AMC Plus, which is nice. And I was able to watch it that way, but I was on my computer every time, working on other projects. Hell, I was even today I was editing Earth Station 1 at the same time because it just didn't hold my interest as much. And there was good points to it. Graham was awesome. Dan was awesome. Have white guy just change heads.
The shadow of Graham still looms large.
If we're gonna say that, I have to say that, did anyone else get a huge Ryan vibe out of Nick?
Yes, very much so.
No, really? Not at all.
Yeah, I did.
Especially at the beginning. At the beginning, especially. The worst parts of Ryan were in that.
Well, when he arrived there with the Monopoly set, and he felt very awkward. He felt very uncomfortable because he liked the young lady, and it was obvious right from the beginning. But I did get a Ryan feel about that because Ryan was written very awkwardly, and it was so I got the same kind of vibe from it, and I did like I liked seeing what was in each one of the storage units and everything, the beans, the mannequins, or, all the other crap that was in there. And, and it was just interesting because, Sarah kept on going, this guy, I'm going to kill him for bringing this. He knows there's no food or no, and it was just like, and then there was fireworks and then there was, combustible bombs basically in there. It was just like, okay. That's a typical storage unit. That's right.
Yeah.
So, and it was
typical storage unit has stuff that nobody wants to. Nothing useful because that's why it's in storage.
Exactly. Exactly, and it was kind of creepy the whole thing with Nick and things from past girlfriends. It was just like it kind of got like a serial killer vibe off of him for that part.
Yeah, and that was one of the best one-off. Like they're still alive, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, we're good.
Okay, good. This isn't turning into Dexter. That's good. This is good. So, but yeah, and the Daleks were cool. I like the alterations of the Daleks, and I like the Gatling guns and everything. And it was pretty cool to see, because it was like they had one blaster. Yeah, they could go, doo, 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 but now they have, that makes more sense. Of course. Yeah. They were trained by stormtroopers. Come on.
I was going to say they went to the same school.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and I did enjoy that part, and it was, the Daleks weren't even the weak part for me. It was just like, it just got, more tedious as the jumps kept on happening and everything. But I did like the characterizations of the companions, and, let's talk about it right now. You got confirmation about the feelings that we've known for the last almost 2 seasons now, that, Yaz is in love with the Doctor. And once again, the Doctor is oblivious to all hell. And, Dan was I loved the interaction between Dan and Yaz. It shows that they spent 4 years together on Earth. And, it was them and Jericho, wandering the Earth, trying to figure out how to get back to the future. God,
hashtag Yaz gang.
Exactly. You still think that's going to be a Big Finish, don't you?
I'm going to push that. If I'm working for Big Finish, like you just signed a new contract, Yaz gang.
There you go.
I still feel like there's more chemistry. I mean, in the sense of a friendship between her and Dan. It's more it's easier for me to believe they are friends than it was for her and Graham and Ryan.
Oh, very much so. Yeah. Completely. And it's because it's interesting because, Dan is such a likable character anyway.
Yeah. And I think it has a lot to do with the actor. I mean, being just so casual and comedic, just sort of easy. Like he has great chemistry with almost everybody he's in a scene with.
He even had great chemistry with the Dalek. Come on.
That's true. that was a pretty cool. I mean, I do get kind of tired of, every time we see the Daleks on Earth, we have to explain to humans what they are. It's like, really? Like,
how many times have they been invaded?
I mean, I know it's at this point, it's just the thing that I just go, yeah, here we go again, because they don't remember. We never remember what Daleks look like, even though we've been attacked by them several times. I think that, look, we said it before, we were kind of leery that it was going this direction. We thought maybe, again, Chibnall was trolling us, like with the bed in the TARDIS, like in the main room and everything like that. We were kind of like, oh, they're just doing that to but I swear that last episode, the way Yaz looked at the Doctor and everything, I was like, damn it, I think they're going to go there. And sure enough, now I liked even more than I like the scene between Dan and Yaz, which I liked a lot, I really like the scene between Dan and the doctor, because the Dan calls the doctor on her BS. Like he knows, like, he's like, I think you know exactly what I mean. And he's right. Like she does, but she doesn't want to deal with it.
No, she doesn't want to face it.
I didn't get the feeling she was oblivious at all. Nope. I got the feeling that she knew exactly what was going on. She just is.
She's known, but she's trying to, and I think she's consciously tried to push Yaz away because she realizes what's going on. And it's not because she doesn't like her. It's just because, she's the doctor and she doesn't want to go there. Because she knows what'll happen in the next 2 specials, and she'll, be regenerated, and Yaz will be disappointed. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it. It's not that I don't like the idea of the doctor being romantic with another woman. That's okay. But once again, we see Chibnall is pulling out the lazy card when it comes to trying to give Yaz something to do. Like the only thing that, it's like, I can't really define her that well. She's not really interesting. What am I going to do? Oh, I know. I'll make her in love with the doctor. Like it just is so lazy. And at this point, it's just not anything anybody wants to see.
It reminded me of Martha.
Yes.
And the way they built that up with Martha.
That's a great way to put it.
Yes. And it really took away from her character.
Yep.
Because
exactly.
Because Martha is a hugely strong character, but they ruined it with the puppy love because she basically was the rebound companion.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think it's okay to explore that, though. I'm a big Martha fan, but the best thing about Martha is that she got over it. And that was her story. And I liked that about her story, that she started off that way, but she wised up and left.
In the end, she's like, I don't need you to be a fully actualized human being.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but it, at first it did feel like that as well. And I can see that, but they're throwing this in like in the last season, really. I mean, not even in
the last 2 episodes.
Yeah. I mean, Mike, you said we've been thinking about this for 2 years. I haven't seen it like this. Like, I wouldn't say it's been happening for 2 years. I think Chibnall just decided this like last year or something like that.
It's just like, well, I at least have this one group of people who like me in this sense, or they like this part.
I noticed it the first time in the Cybermen story of the 2 seasons back was when I first started seeing it building. And then, when, of course, Graham and Ryan left, and it was just Yaz. You could see it in Yaz's face. Yay! It's just me and her. It's awesome. But after that, it just was like full force for the whole flux, and now this. And I'm glad, because she tried denying it, and it was great because Dan kept on going and saying, I was with you for 4 years. I saw how you looked every time you saw that hologram. I saw it when she came back. I saw, and it's like, I'm glad he called her on her BS. And, just admit it. You do. And, and it's everyone has trouble sometimes, admitting, that they have a crush or something like that. It's like, oh, okay, I do, that type of thing.
Just like Nick.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that's kind of where it tied together even. It was interesting.
And I did really love that it was like, I've never admitted that even to myself.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That was, I have quite literally had that same conversation with somebody. And that reaction was so accurate and heartfelt that it made everything else go, really, are we doing this? Made it worth it.
Okay.
And I think it could, and I don't trust Chibnall to actually capitalize on this properly, but I think it could easily set up some very deep character growth for her when we get the adventures in Big Finish audio.
Yeah, exactly. I just feel like Chibnall's just using it as
two specials.
The Chibnall's just using it as a tool. He's like, well, I know Jodie's getting ready to regenerate pretty soon, so I need someone to really care for her and make it a heartbreaking thing. So we better like double down on this whole Yaz relationship with her. And I'm like,
oh, for sure.
That's just that. Don't do that. Don't do this. And now in the next couple of episodes, we're going to have this cloud overhanging the next two specials.
Yeah. It just feels cheap. It just feels really cheap.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel.
I just say almost worth it.
Yeah.
Almost.
Well, Dan, to your point, I think that I would. If I had more trust in Chibnall, like I have in other showrunners, I would think like, okay, well, let's see where this goes. But because the thing I least trust him with is the sticking the landing.
Yeah.
And he's about to after this special that's coming up in April, then he's got one more to stick the landing of his entire run. And I'm just worried that that's going to be like a mess.
Oh, I think so too. And he's probably going to be trying to bring back every single character and every storyline that he tried starting and, try putting it all into 1 hour.
Hey, we got Carl back in this episode.
Yes, we did at the very end.
Yeah, exactly. It's like what? Like I was like, who is that guy? And I was like, this doesn't make any sense. And I looked it up and I'm like, oh, he was in the first episode with Jodie, the woman who fell to earth.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, well, does that mean anything?
Yeah, when I first saw it, I'm like, is that Jeff guy they keep bringing up from the storage unit?
Oh, right.
Who is this?
That's what I thought too.
I thought it was Jeff also. So,
I had to look it up to realize it was Carl. I mean,
yeah. Well, that's how little Carl made an impact on me in that first episode. But I thought he died.
Yeah, makes sense. So it was interesting to see. Do we have any thoughts about about the whole time loop thing, how it was handled and everything? Did you guys like how they did it, with the shortening each minute?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, we both said that. Yeah, we
but
Aaron and I are fans.
Yeah, but the thing is, the one thing I did like is it didn't reset and they didn't have to figure it all out each time. They remembered from last time.
Yes.
And that was true of us.
Yeah, because if they had to go through the whole thing that would have been annoying.
Yeah, that would not have worked in such a short amount of time. and I like that he counted down. I thought that was smart to have it counting down.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It was really well done. And, they had, and to a Time Lord, 5 minutes, that's like an eternity to them anyway. So it's okay.
Are you kidding? That's like a millisecond to them.
Yeah. Oh, 5 minutes. I can learn how to play piano. I could do a sonnet. I could do this, if you remember the Eighth Doctor saying that when, oh, Doctor, you have only 5 more minutes to live. And it's like, oh, 5 minutes. That's nothing. So it was interesting though that, how they tied it together. And, Jodie, of course, loved. I have no complaints about her character at all, except for her little what? She's in love with me? No. What? I don't know what you're talking about. That was kind of BS, but that was
I like that scene.
I didn't.
I thought Jodie was really good in it. I think, I didn't like what they were talking about, but since they were talking about it, I thought Jodie and Dan. Right, thank you. I was going to say, Graham did a good job, acting-wise, and I thought that was really well done. I mean, that's what you expect the Doctor to do. The Doctor's not just going to be like, "Oh yeah, you're right, I do," but Oh yeah.
Better or for worse, that's been one of Jodie's really defining traits. Has been avoiding the absolute hell out of anything that's going on or trying to talk about what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And her, especially when it comes to what's going on in her head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's very, very guarded.
Yeah.
And that's how that read to me, was just a continuation of that extreme guardedness.
Mm-hmm. Totally understand that. I could totally see that. Do you think this will go down as one of the best holiday specials? And I'm talking about Doctor Who holiday specials all the way back through the beginning of the new series. How does this rank against it?
I would say
this was a holiday special is how it's going to rank.
Yeah. Well, it was on New Year's Eve. They were counting it down.
Well, I think they're better when they're not centered around the holiday.
It's not in your face as far as a holiday special, but yes, it does take place on New Year's Eve, and that is an element to the story. So,
brief element.
It doesn't feel as forced as some of the other times when they try to wedge, a holiday into a.
You mean like putting Santa?
Halloween Apocalypse,
like he did with Halloween. Yeah, that's where I was going. Good.
I mean, Elf Storage was actually kind of funny.
Yeah,
yes, that's true.
Elf Storage. Why did you call this place Elf? Because he couldn't afford to put the S back up. It was a cute little line. So, very awesome. Any final comments or thoughts before we go ahead and rate this?
I didn't. I guess they introduced these Daleks as executioner Daleks, which I guess is a new thing. But I did not see anything other than the fact that they had those Gatling guns. I guess that's the only thing that is different about them. That's the only thing I noticed. But I just thought they were an upgrade. I like the idea too that the Daleks said that they can learn and they can upgrade, especially since we just watched Evil of the Daleks where they were trying to do the same thing. I'm like, well, at least the Daleks are consistent in these couple stories that we just recently have seen.
And especially the ones not written by Terry Nation. It's even better.
Well, anytime you can watch a Dalek story that's not written by Terry Nation, it's a good day.
Even Chris Chibnall.
Wow.
You beat Terry Nation.
Wow.
Thank you and good night, everybody.
Okay, let's go ahead and rate this one. 1 out of 5 TARDISes, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best.
I'd like to just shout out to all the listeners who are never going to listen to our show again. Thank you for your time with us. We really appreciate you giving us a chance as Doctor Who fans, but you probably don't want to ever hear us again.
Oh, God, I totally understand that. Okay, Christina, go first. 1 out of 5 TARDISes, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best.
A solid 3.
Okay. Any thoughts with that? Or just solid 3?
I mean, it was like I said, it was probably the best of Chibnall's, but that's not saying a whole lot, I guess.
Low bar, folks. Low bar.
Yeah. So that's why, a 3, sure. It was fun, but not the best.
Nope, totally understand that. Dave.
3.5. Cut the TARDIS in half again.
Got it. Awesome.
Now I have to reset it, and then all this thing will happen again.
Oh, yeah.
We'll have to go through this whole review over again, and we'll have less time to do it.
Okay, Mary.
I think I'm going to give it a 3.75. I would have given it a 4, but for the part about Yaz being in love with the Doctor, I mean, oh man, please no. It has nothing to do. Let me tell you, folks, I am as queer as you can be. I have absolutely no problem at all with it being 2 women. I have a big problem with the way that it was presented, and the fact that there's no way he's going to explore that in depth in the next 2 specials. He just threw it in because he needed a shocker or something. So yeah. But overall, I enjoyed the episode, so I'm willing to go 3.75.
Okay, Mr. Mike.
I'm going to give it a 4. I have some of the same problems, but I liked the other stuff more. So I'm going to give it. I almost went a 4.5, but that stuff with Yaz and the Doctor again. It's just Chibnall being clumsy, and throughout this, I mean, as you've already pointed out, I mean, there are some plot points here where it's like it doesn't really work. I had so much fun with the episode, I didn't really care about that stuff. So, like, I didn't really care that the storage units are bigger than they are in real life. I mean, whatever. I just had fun with it. And this was the most fun I've had watching Doctor Who, even, more so than anything we saw in Flux. And that was pretty good at times. But this was just fun. And I haven't had fun just watching Doctor Who, at least not New Who, in quite some time.
No, totally.
Would you say you liked it better than Village of the Angels? Did you put this one above it?
Yeah, I did in terms of it being a standalone story, yes.
Okay.
There are parts of Village of the Angels that I liked a lot, but because it's wrapped up, I can't break it out of the whole Flux storyline.
Mm-hmm.
So it's difficult for me to say, but ultimately I think I would probably give them both a 4. So, the TARDIS rating is the same. So different reasons, but,
Okay. I'm going to give this one a 3. It didn't hold my interest, like I've said multiple times. I liked some of the characterizations. If I was basing it on Jodie alone, it would have gotten a 5. But that was why it didn't get a lower score, because Jodie was in it. And the Daleks were interesting. The whole thing with the time loop has been done tons of times. And it was just okay. And, I've never ever said with Doctor Who is just okay. It's always, I've always said bad Doctor Who is still better than anything else out there most of the time. I'm almost starting to have to eat those words in some ways. And I blame Chris Chibnall on that. And I'm not thrilled with it. I'm not thrilled having to say that. But am I going to leave the show? Hell no. I will never leave Doctor Who. Doctor Who, this show will go on, for me as long as I breathe, pretty much. I will be watching Doctor Who. And, I'm looking forward already to the next chapter. And, speaking of next chapters, we do have to talk about the trailer, because we got a big surprise with that.
Sea Devils!
We are getting a nice surprise on that one. That was awesome to see.
Yeah,
I was not
really
expecting that. That was, one of those surprises that Chibnall did, it didn't leak that they were coming back. And I love that it's, based on a true story, because the pirate that they have in it is a true character. And so they're going to be doing a historical episode. And I will say this, the one thing Chibnall does really well are the historical stories. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to be very curious to see what we got.
Yeah.
So any thoughts on it? Are you guys excited about this one?
I'm looking forward to it. The trailer definitely intrigued me, and that looked like they did a good job on the Sea Devils.
Mm-hmm.
And recreated them.
They modernized them, but they didn't take away the original feel.
Right.
Which is nice. Not like they did with the Silurians.
Mm-hmm.
And, so I didn't want it to be, oh, this is just a helmet that we wear or something. And it's a human head or a fish head or something like that underneath. And no, I don't want to see that. But no, I thought it looked awesome. And
Chibnall's done a pretty good job at bringing back. I mean, it took him a while to bring back some the races and some of the other species and aliens and stuff. But the ones you have, I think we all said that he did a good job bringing back the Centaurans, especially their going back to their original look, and what he's done with the Cybermen and even the Daleks. I think has been pretty solid all the way through. So I think he's managed. One thing that we'll say about him is that he has managed to treat a lot of the past creatures, races, whatever you want to call it, with some respect.
Yeah, very much so.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what also shot Chibnall in the foot, was him not bringing back more classic characters his first season, to keep some of the, he said, oh, I want to go do it, all new characters, all new this. I think you would have captured a lot of the fanboy audience and such if you would have had some of the classic characters come back in some form or another.
I
Yeah, that
appreciate that he
seems so
tried. He
strange
failed.
to
I
me.
appreciate that he tried, though.
Yeah.
It seems so strange to me that that's one of his strengths, was bringing back the older characters and also doing sort of the miniseries arc. And the first season, he just went totally away from that. It's like, I'm not going to do anything I do well.
Exactly. Instead, we got Tim Shaw,
Yeah.
so a guy who has teeth in his face. It's awesome. And trust me, I have the pop figure to prove it. No, so.
Oh, jeez.
I can't believe they made a pop figure.
I can't either. Out of all the creatures and all the things in Doctor Who, it's like,
No, they did not do a good job at pop figures for the Jodie era. They did 3 different versions of Jodie, and they did Tim Shaw, they did the Kablam, and they did whatever that little metal eating thing was. That little creature.
The Pating.
Yeah. Those are the Funkos they did, because they did a Funko with her wearing the long jacket as the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. That was even before she became the Doctor, when they first introduced her. And then they did her without the jacket as the general release, and then they did, from her regeneration episode, her holding the sonic screwdriver with the goggles on her forehead. That she did.
I like the ones they did of her.
Oh, the one I have all of them except for the San Diego one, because I'm not paying over $200 for a Funko Pop. That's where I draw the line, folks.
Yeah,
because
$199, yes. $200, no.
No
way.
Nope. Hey, a guy has to have standards. Damn it.
Draw the line.
I draw the line at it, so it's very cool. So I think that's going to wrap up this episode for tonight. Thank you for joining us for the New Year's special. It was pretty darn awesome to be able to hang with some amazing folks to talk about this tonight. We might not have all agreed on it, but you know what? We could agree that it's good to have Doctor Who for a holiday. And, this time next year, we'll be in the Barren Lands, folks. Trust us,
We'll be in the Big Finish land.
Exactly. Keeping far away from, Trial of a Time Lord, as we like to say.
As far as we can.
Exactly.
We will be socially distancing ourselves from Trial of a Time Lord.
Trial of a Time Lord is in quarantine.
It's in quarantine.
I like it. I like it totally. All right. Let's thank everyone for being here. Christina, you made it through your first episode with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It was a great pleasure.
Anything you want to promote, like your Facebook group and everything, where you can get tons and tons of people to join?
Sure. It's the Doctor Who and Sci-Fi Appreciation Society on Facebook. So
definitely, folks, give it a join, please. It's, become one of us. It's awesome. It's a great place to be. And of course, Mr. Dave, thank you, sir.
You're very welcome. Such a pleasure to be back.
Anything you want to promote?
Always promote myself.
Always be promoting.
Exactly. Easiest place to find everything I do is Linktree, linktr.ee/therathole.ca. That's got all our social media. That's got the main website. And the YouTube, I'd love to get a handful more YouTube subscribers on there so I can get a usable URL from YouTube.
What is a handful of subscribers? That's what I want to know.
I think I'm 20 shy.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So 20 shy people, go sign up for Dave's YouTube page.
YouTube. You'll get great miniature painting. I've got a painter. Did he do Jodie? No, he did the 8th Doctor miniature for us. So that's a weekly thing. We got some random reviews, including the Doctor Who card game, live casts that I've had there. And through the same link, you can find all of our written reviews as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you once again, my friend. And you were, came in at the last moment, and we do appreciate you.
I'm glad to be here. Anytime.
Awesome, dude. And Mary, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me. It was fun to do this episode. I enjoyed it.
I'm glad you did. Anything you want to promote?
You can find me at mariogle.com or on Etsy at eVision Arts.
Excellent. If you want to check out some amazing artwork, folks, definitely check out Mary's work. She is one of the good ones out there. And last but never least, Mr. Mike Gordon.
As always, it's my pleasure.
And we made it through another one, my friend.
We did. And, we should probably give a special shout out to, we got that big episode that we did, the year-end special that we always do on Earth Station 1 to put the year in review, best, worst. We put it through the geek seat, so to speak, and people should check that out. We do mention Doctor Who in there a couple times, so
even the current showrunner. I mean,
yeah, exactly. So whether it's as best or worst, I think you probably know. But
yeah, big surprise.
Yeah, it's not a shocker on that one, folks.
But those are always fun. So I encourage people to check those out too if you want to see what our thoughts are of stuff other than Doctor Who.
Exactly, it's a lot of fun, and definitely check it out. Of course, we will be back again. Actually, next week, we're going to be back, and we are looking at the 11th Doctor, folks. We're looking at Rebel Flesh and the Almost People, a two-parter featuring the very weird two versions of Matt Smith. It's going to be a lot of fun to talk all about it, or as we like to call it, the Ganger Doc. So, should be kind of cool. So, until then, feedback, as always, is at feedback@earthstationwho.com. Please subscribe. Please tell your friends and neighbors. It's always great to have people join the Earth Station Who Facebook group. We have a great group there. We talk about Doctor Who news. And, sooner or later, they're going to announce who the new Doctor is. So hopefully that'll be the first place you find it. Check it out. Earth Station Who up on Facebook. And if you want to look for older episodes of the podcast, check out earthstationwho.com. And you know what? We can be found anywhere where fine podcasts are found. Look up Earth Station Who. We're sitting right next to it. Next to the good shows, that is. So until then, my name is Mike Faber. On behalf of all of us, we will see you here next time on Earth Station Who. Have a great new year. Here's to 2022 being great for all of us. Talk to you later. Peace. And we are done. Boom.
You have been listening to Earth Station Who, a bi-weekly pop culture podcast dedicated to all things Doctor Who, featuring talents from across the universe. All topics on the show are the sole opinions of the individual and are used for entertainment value alone. You subscribe to our podcast up on iTunes, Stitcher, or follow our blog at www.esopodcast.com. You can also follow us up on Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. If you enjoyed the show, please leave feedback up on iTunes.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.